If Pyros and Crips all got along, they probably got me down by the end of the song. Seem like the whole city go against me. Every time I'm in the street, I hear
Okay, look. I mean, since I am a Suns fan, I should have fucking talked about this a lot earlier, but I guess I'll just get it out right now. I mean, okay, look. The Suns, they don't want to pay Ayton. And a lot of people are saying, okay, they're stupid. Why do they not want to pay Ayton? But the more and more I think about it, I think I agree with them. Because if you really think about it, think of the guys who got the big contracts. You think of Luka, you think of Trae Young, shit, you even think of Michael Porter Jr. What do all those guys have in common? All three of those guys can create their own offense. Now that's the problem with Ayton. This dude cannot create his own offense. You see that when Chris Paul comes off the court, this dude's production stalls. You know what I mean? He's a big man who needs to be fed the ball. He's not a big man who could create his own offense. And that is kind of what I think kills Phoenix, is because of that fact. Because here's the thing, his defense has gotten better, but at the same time, since he can't create his own offense, he can't match up with other bigs. So like when Giannis was scoring 50, you know what I mean? Then you got Ayton scoring what, like maybe 20 and 10 at most. But then if you add, say maybe Karl-Anthony Towns, he has definitely voiced his displeasure with the Timberwolves. You know, they just fired their GM. He spoke out against that. You know what I mean? And I think the Timberwolves might be ready to move on from Towns, because this dude has not committed long term. Even with the whole D'Lo thing, that shit hasn't worked out. So I think for them, that would actually help both sides out, because DeAndre Ayton seems more of a guy who would fit a young core, and Cat seems more like the guy who needs to win right now. You know what I mean? And I think, okay, right now, Karl-Anthony Towns doesn't have the best defense, but so did Ayton. Ayton wasn't a good defender a couple years ago, but I know for a fact that Monty Williams is going to make this dude a better defender. I know that. I know that will happen. So basically what I'm saying is, just do the deal. Just trade Ayton for Cat. If you gotta throw in Dario Saric for the salary filler, do that. You know what I mean? You gotta do this trade, because if you don't do this trade, you are essentially screwing yourself over for the next 20 years. Because think about it right now. Chris Paul is 36 years old. He's not going to be around forever. And most of his production comes from Chris Paul, or comes from a playmaker like Chris Paul. Like, he was doing good with Rubio, don't get me wrong, but I mean, your recipe for success is a great point guard, Devin Booker, and DeAndre Ayton. But the problem is, once CP3 is gone, number one, they're going to need a succession plan, which I don't think Cameron Payne is, but I think he's a good backup. But he doesn't fit the role which is needed for DeAndre Ayton to succeed, because he's more of like a scoring point guard, and what he does is he pushes the pace. He lets them go on hot streaks while Chris Paul kind of slows the pace down. And what I'm saying is, if you're looking at this long term, you're going to have to get Devin Booker to stay. Because once Chris Paul gets old, that window is over if they keep Ayton. You know what I mean? So why are you going to have this guy on a huge-ass contract if he ain't going to be able to carry your franchise? So that's why I said he's better part of a young core rather than being the guy. Because if you get Karl-Anthony Towns, you know what I mean? Chris Paul can take some possessions off. You just give that bitch to Karl-Anthony Towns. he'll take you home. You know, you needed that type of shit against Giannis. Now, I've always been saying, okay, they need power forward, but I mean, Jay Crowder isn't the worst. You know what I mean? You could still win with Jay Crowder. Now, I was saying either get one of Siakam or Karl-Anthony Towns, but I think now, I don't know what the Raptors are doing, you know what I mean? But now that you don't want to pay Ayton, you need to get a center to replace him. And you need to get a center that can create his own offense. Because I guarantee you, if they had Karl-Anthony Towns instead of Ayton, I think they would have. Now, he made a big impact. He was a big reason why they won. But I think with Karl-Anthony Towns, they would be even more dominant. Because Towns can match Jokic bucket for bucket. You know, Towns was projected above Giannis when it came to who would you start your franchise with a few years ago. So I know he could match Giannis bucket for bucket too. You know what I mean? And if you think about it, years down the line, if you got Booker and Cat on the same team, they could carry the franchise. You know what I mean? You get any normal point guard that can carry the franchise. The problem is if you have Booker and Ayton, you're going to need to get like a supremely talented point guard in order to maximize Ayton. But before Karl-Anthony Towns, just dump that bitch off to him. He'll get it done for you. So that's what I'm saying. Okay, if you don't want to pay him, send him over to Minnesota. You already traded a couple first round picks for Chris Paul. You gotta trade a couple more, so be it. You know what I mean? Chris Paul is not getting any younger. This is their best chance to win. They just came off the finals loss. Now, I'm not confident that they're gonna win this year specifically, just because the Lakers got a whole bunch of shit. They got Russell Westbrook, Anthony Davis, LeBron. But past this season, I give them a good shot because LeBron is probably thinking of joining Bronny, whatever team Bronny ends up with, which is probably not to be the Lakers, because the Lakers probably aren't going to be that bad. You know what I mean? So that's probably going to happen. And then we look at the Clippers. Clippers ain't shit. We all know the Clippers ain't shit. You know, we all know the Clippers ain't shit because of the way they constructed their team. They got rid of the point guard that could have set everything up for them, which was Chris Paul. You know, he could have made Kawhi and PD's job way easier so they wouldn't have to create all the time. You know what I mean? He would get them open looks. He would get them shit like that. But he's not on there. They don't have any big men. You know what I mean? Ibaka is getting up there in age. You know what I mean? And then Marcus Morris literally does the same shit that Kawhi and Paul George does. So it's like the team is just not set up to win. And they proved that by trading Beverly and Rondo. Because as much as people shit on Beverly, he fits what the Clippers need. And Eric Bledsoe, as much as I used to like him, is not gonna work, man. Every fucking time this dude is in the playoffs, this dude shrinks. Now I get that he's probably not gonna have as big of a role since Reggie Jackson's probably gonna take the starting spot. But at the same time, man, like, shit is not gonna work out. Like, the Clippers are fucked. The Nuggets, I mean, they got swept. Now you could say they didn't have Jamal Murray, but unless Jamal Murray turns into fucking Stephen Curry, you know what I mean? I don't think he's the difference between them getting swept and them winning the series. You know what I mean? I really don't. I really don't. I mean, a lot of those times when they lost, it was by huge margins. They got blown the fuck out in a lot of games that they lost. So, yeah, I think the Suns still beat them in that category. And so if you really think, but they better pay Bridges. I swear to God. They better pay Bridges. Like, I get that they don't want to pay Ayton, just because Ayton is only dependent on, like, the point guard he's with. But for fucking Bridges, bro, like, what he brings is invaluable. Like, he is going to be your 3-and-D forward for the next 20 years. I don't give a fuck. Like, you cannot lose Mikal Bridges. I swear to God, I don't care what you have to do, you need to keep Bridges. Now, he's not worth $40 million, but see what fucking contract he gets on the open market. Because I guarantee you, he's not getting more than like 30, 35. He's not getting 40, he's not getting any of that shit. That's not happening. So, long story short, trade Ayton for Cat and some draft picks, I guess. Maximize this window with Chris Paul. And, I mean, even in the future, when Chris Paul retires, you got Booker and Ayton to look forward to, or Booker and Cat to look forward to for the next 15, 20 years, and y'all be set. So other than that, it's not much to say. Get this deal done. You know what I mean? If y'all really don't want to pay Ayton, get Karl-Anthony Towns. You know, he's already on a contract. And the contract that he's on, I guarantee you, is way cheaper than the one that whatever unfortunate team is going to have to end up paying Ayton. Now, I don't know if the Timberwolves are want to pay him that contract either. But, I mean, if they could get a few draft picks, I would take that. But, like I said, there's not much to say. If you got to trade like 4 first-round picks, 3 first-round picks, you do it. You do it. You maximize Chris Paul's window. He signed a 4-year deal, but he's only going to be Chris Paul, that we know and love, for like maybe 2, at most 3 years of that deal. He's not going to be the superstar we all know and love for all 4 of those years. So I say you get this shit done, you maximize his window. You're probably going to have to find a succession plan to Chris Paul eventually. Yeah, eventually you're going to have to find a succession plan to Chris Paul. But for right now, you do this trade, you maximize the window, you have Booker and Karl-Anthony Towns for the next 15, 20 years. You know, post Chris Paul retiring, you know. And you try to get a chip out of it. Because, I mean, it's not like Chris Paul signed a 1-1 deal. He signed a 4-year deal. So you have 4 years to win championships with Chris Paul. And I think that's very valuable, considering the fact that this is their first year together, and they made it all the way to the finals. Because the Western Conference is only getting worse. The Eastern Conference is only getting worse. Think about it. Ben Simmons, you know, he's fucking up the Sixers. Kyrie Irving, he's fucking up the Nets. And the Bucks, they just lost PJ Tucker. Brook Lopez is getting older. And Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton are already, like, not that young anyways. So really, Giannis, that might be his only ring. I don't see him winning another ring. The only team that I'm really concerned in the East in the long run is the Hawks. But even the Hawks, they're going to have to pay these motherfuckers. They have a lot of people on their rookie deals that are not going to end up being on their rookie deals. So, they're going to have to make a decision there. So, yeah, other than like maybe the Hawks long term, like 4 years down the road, I'm not concerned with any of these Eastern Conference teams. These Western Conference teams, same shit, other than maybe the Nuggets, which they already beat, which I think they still would have beat, even with Jamal Murray. You know, I really don't see what teams within a 4-year span can fuck with the Suns. I really don't. If they make this deal, they'll probably lose in the conference finals this year, just because, you know, LeBron's gonna want to go out with at least 1 or 2 more rings. But after this year, I think it's up for grabs. I think 2023 is probably when they should strike. 2022, 2023, 2024. Those 2 seasons is probably the best chance to win this ring. So, make a conference finals run. You know, try to get Karl Anthony Towns acclimated his first year in Phoenix and go all in 2023. Win that shit for Chris Paul, have this dude go out on top, and you'll be lit. You know what I mean? And even if Chris Paul retires, you still got Booker and Karl Anthony Towns. You know what I mean? And then find the successor, Chris Paul, eventually. I mean, it's not going to be of urgency, so you still have Booker and Towns, but, you know, find the successor of Chris Paul, and y'all be lit. You know what I mean? The switch has been somewhat hard. You know, but I mean, I've always low-key rooted for the Suns around like 2016, 17. It was like Booker's second season. And by the way, I was rooting for this team before the 70-point game. Before the Booker 70-point game, I was still rooting for this team. Because at the time, I was a Clippers fan. And one of my favorite players from the Clippers, Eric Bledsoe, had gotten traded to the Suns. So I'd always watch them from afar. And then I saw this kid Booker. I was like, oh shit, you know, this dude's the next Kobe. You know, and which is why I got so disappointed in that video. That was like just my reaction to them losing the finals. And that's disappointing because I was like, I know this dude could do better. You know what I mean? That Jenner pussy is fucking him up, man. That Kardashian / Jenner pussy is fucking him up. You know, honestly, just get it done. Get it done. Doesn't have to be this year, but within a 2 to 3 year span, you need to get this done because he's not gonna be himself at the role for his deal. So let's get this chip and maybe it. I'm out. Peace.